back to part 2 of the front axle build.
Today, well, this afternoon and probably in the days to come, we're going to tear apart the axle that we purchased originally with the RCV shafts and everything that we're going to use for our front axle over there. But in order to get the lower mounts aligned appropriately to where they don't hit or the tire whenever we're at full turn, what I want to do is I want to disassemble the axles here, take the hubs off, and take the knuckles off themselves, put the knuckles on the new axle. That way we can put the rotors and everything on there with a wheel and kind of see where they'll sit at full steer, and we can get a rough idea of where these lower brackets are going to fit. So let's get to it. I got the hub just kind of on here, or just the knuckle on here just to turn, and I'm already going to see some issues with clearances here. Might have to figure that out, but my main concern is going to be turning. Let's get the other side taken off, that way we can put the link on there and kind of see how everything's going to fit up and mock up on the new axle. All right, day 552 working on the front axle here. We went ahead and put the outer hubs and spindles on, that way we can actually mount up some tires, that way for articulation. As you can hear, I'm hitting, so I'm gonna have to fix my stops. I actually took them out, that way I could see how long of a stroke I actually have to work with. And obviously the washers are just spaced up, that way the ball joints are seated properly accordingly there. But we moved it down here on the ground just because it's starting to get really heavy. The main thing that we're in here looking at is, one, to get our hydraulic assist stroke point. The best way to do it is to turn it full one way, make a line as you can see there. Make a line and then turn it the opposite way all the way, make another line, take that measurement. But the next thing that we need to do is to get our lower control arm brackets tack welded on in place, try to get them figured out where they need to be. So that's what we're going to focus on now. What I came up with was roughly about 3.5 inches from the seat gusset there. And then now I'm just working on link separation, just like we did in the rear with the top link, and obviously having to make clearance angles for the bottom link, or for the bottom bracket rather. Make sure there's no clearance issues down here. When we get it down here, I'll fit it up. It'll be pretty close, but it'll make things nice and easy to get to. Alright, so we got it tack loaded in place there, and I think we got enough clearance, and I won't know 100% until we get it underneath the Jeep, but I think that's going to be good enough. So I'll put a few more tacks on there to make sure it holds whenever we put it underneath the Jeep. Alright, so now that we got the lower mounts tack loaded on, I'm going to work on this upper link bracket. For personal preferences, it's just too tall for one, and two, I don't need this much adjustability. I think I'm going to do one at 9 inches for 35-inch tires and one at 10 inches for 37 plus tires. Alright guys, as you can see, we got both sides on the shock brackets just tacked on. Eventually we'll go on, we'll add some trusses top and bottom here, kind of make this a little bit stronger, more stout for the shocks. Just putting up some final touches here on the front axle. Actually decided to hold off on the sway bar disconnects just because of the way the high steer is currently mounted and the way that it'll fit underneath the Jeep. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty sure that the axle, the way it sits right now, is pretty much done. We've got our upper link bracket, we got our 2 lower control arm brackets, we've got our shock mounts, we've got our coil spring brackets, we got our track bar bracket. We haven't done the steering. We need to build some new high steer arms. That way we can kind of get a better clearances for the high steer, and then also make room for the hydro assist. We need to go ahead and put some ball joints in our knuckles, kind of clean things up. And yeah, so I think that's going to conclude the build of the front axle. And I think now the main thing to do on this thing is to get our new components on, the new rotors, brakes, all that assembled, rebuild our RCV shafts, get our steering components the way they need to be. So I think as far as the actual build, as far as brackets, housing and things go, we're pretty much done here. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell me something that you would do differently. And like I said, this is just tack welded right now, so it might be a better option for me moving forward. But we'll see you guys in the next video.